CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Sydney North SAANICH RCMP are searching for a missing man tonight. He is 34-year-old Demetrius Rokanis from the Lower Mainland. He was last seen in Parksville on November 28th. His car was found later at the Swartz Bay Ferry Terminal, but he has not been seen since. His family says he likes to visit bars and casinos, and they are deeply concerned about his disappearance. Well, that healthcare funding bombshell that the feds dropped onto the provinces during lunch in Victoria yesterday has divided finance ministers from east to west. Federal Finance Minister Jim Flaherty introduced the 10-year health care plan over lunch in Victoria yesterday. The plan was welcomed as a sign of stability by most of the Western premiers, but is disliked from Manitoba East. Ontario says the change from a fixed annual increase in health funding to one that's tied to economic growth will cut more than $21 billion out of health care spending over the next 10 years. But BC's Finance Minister, the host of yesterday's meeting, says he welcomes the formula and agrees with the need to keep costs under control.
I just respectfully disagree with some of my colleagues that are being so openly critical. I mean, the fact of the matter is the federal government is continuing to increase at a very generous rate for the next 5 years, and it will continue after that with nominal GDP growth, which, as I have said before, over the last decade has averaged at just under 6%. So I don't think the world is coming to an end, but I do know this. There is only one taxpayer in this country. We are all Canadians, and it is incumbent on all of us to be honest with the public about the fact that there are incredible pressures on our healthcare system that won't be solved by just additional dollars.
That new funding formula will increase the federal transfers from $27 billion to $38 billion over the next 8 years. BC currently gets about 20% of our total healthcare funding in transfers from the federal government. Well, a Victoria family that is well known for autos and for auto racing is selling the family business. Speedway Motors will change hands after nearly 60 years. What started out as Speedway Auto Sales on Douglas near Cloverdale in 1953 is coming to an end. The Passmore family is selling Speedway Motors, the German auto import network, after generations in the family. Over the years, the Passmore's used car dealership expanded into a Volkswagen franchise and then added the Porsche brand, the oldest in Canada, and Audi, making it the only dealership in its time to carry all three imports under one roof. Roy Passmore, the current owner, will hand the keys over in January.
I think they're quite comfortable in who is taking over the dealership. The Gain group, which is German Auto Import Network, is purchasing Speedway, and they currently own 3-Point Mercedes-Benz and BMW of Victoria. And I think Roy and the Passmore family are very happy that it's going to a reputable group, a group that cares about the customers, treats their employees well. And I don't think it would have happened otherwise. Finding the right buyer was paramount.
Speedway is the oldest Volkswagen dealership in the country, and the Passmore family is renowned in the Oval Circle as well. Pioneers in auto racing on the island since the old days of the Langford Speedway in the 1940s. Well, Hanukkah begins tonight, the 8-day Jewish Festival of Light, and it was marked at Victoria City Hall today with a special ceremony in the mayor's office. Rabbi MEIR KAPLAN lit the first of the 8 candles on the menorah. Those candles signify the 8 days a candelabrum stayed lit inside a temple more than 2,000 years ago. According to Jewish tradition, there was just enough oil to fuel the candle for 1 day, but they burned for 8.
This is the capital of British Columbia. We are going throughout this holiday to reach out to communities across the entire province, and we thought it would be just appropriate to start it here at the office of the mayor of the capital city.
It's a wonderful tradition of lighting the candle, that whole concept of rather than cursing the darkness, light the candle, bring light, as well as, and food's always involved, so that's always good that way. A good hard game of dreidel is also a wonderful way to finish off.
Oil is a big part of Hanukkah celebrations, and there are plenty of oil-fried treats today on hand. Similar menorah lighting ceremonies are happening at the legislature tonight, as well as in Duncan, NANAIMO, and elsewhere on the island and Gulf Islands. And with Christmas just days away, 'tis the season of urgent need for many in the community and for the charities that rely on them. Victoria's Mustard Seed Food Bank got a major boost today from Coast Capital Savings. Employees from the credit union showed up at the food bank with a check for just over $10,000.
Our staff have always driven our donations and which groups to support, and we've been such a part of the community for so many years, and the staff have always seen mustard seed as a key contributor to our society, so we always want to give back.
Yeah, we have the ability, because of the volume that we purchase, to usually receive much more on the dollar than your average grocery shopper. So donations of cash also helps us to buy what we want when we want it.
Volunteers prepared the first of the Christmas hampers today. Hundreds will be picked up and delivered over the next few days. The mustard seed says it has enough turkeys to fill the need over the holiday period, but the food bank is still short of its year-end goal by about $500,000. And Christmas spirit was in the air today at our place in downtown Victoria as the annual Christmas dinner got underway. The dining room was bustling with hundreds of people who dropped by for turkey dinner with all the trimmings. More than 1,200 people showed up to sample the mashed potatoes, the stuffing and pumpkin pie. And the guests all received a message of love on their placemat from someone who supported the shelter. Organizers say it feels good to give at this time of year.
It's just such a neat feeling, the sense of community, what it means to the people, to know that people care for them, and just to show that there's that Christmas spirit and there is love out there for everyone.
On average, our place serves meals to about 1,500 people every day. And of course, with Christmas fast approaching, the Salvation Army is still struggling to gather its donations. The nonprofit organization is asking for a few helping hands to help it reach its holiday goal. And this morning, I had a chance to hit the streets with the Jingle Bells in downtown Victoria to help man a kettle outside the Bay Centre. The Salvation Army has about 40 of these kettles scattered around the Greater Victoria area and more up and down the island, and still needs your help to fill them. All of the money goes towards Christmas hampers and toys and warm clothing for families in need. Organizers say they have only achieved about 50% of this year's goal of $250,000.
We have noticed in the past that the final week is when people are starting to be out more and more, and they are becoming more and more generous as the season progresses closer to Christmas. So we're hoping we'll see the same pattern again this year. Give if you can, every penny counts, and it all adds up to the bigger picture. And we appreciate everything that you can donate.
The Sally Ann expects more than 1,500 families to seek their assistance this holiday season. Police responded to a three-car pileup on the Pat Bay Highway this afternoon. This crash happened in the southbound lanes near McDonald Park Road, and it caused major traffic delays. Police say one vehicle rear-ended another, and that caused a chain reaction.
The three cars involved were all traveling south. The first car got rear-ended by the second car, which got rear-ended by the third car. Unfortunately, this is a fairly common occurrence in ferry traffic, with people not paying attention or following a bit too closely. There's a lot of stopping and going. No matter why the vehicles are stopped on the highway, vehicles have to give themselves enough time to come to a safe and complete stop if the car in front of you stops, and in this case that didn't happen.
No serious injuries reported in the accident. 9 people in total were involved in the crash, just one transported to the hospital with minor injuries. It's not clear yet whether charges are going to be laid. Christmas hampers for those in need in the NANAIMO area began going out today. Volunteers at the operation dubbed Hamperville began assembling and handing out the packages to singles today. Families are next. Each hamper has enough food for 1 week. The NANAIMO Christmas Hampers group says demand is up about 10% over last year, and that translates to about 200 more people in need.
It's a difficult thing for some people sometimes to do that. We see people coming in here the first time and saying, well, I wish I didn't have to do this, but, it's a sign of the times, I think.
This year, Hamperville is expected to feed close to 5,000 people with an estimated 2,200 hampers. The packages for the families begin going out tomorrow. Large families can pick up their hampers on Friday.